Sagittarius and cross watchers, how are y'all doing? This is your October 2020 tarot reading. I will be going over some astrological aspects and transits that are happening in October, and then I will be getting into your reading. For anybody that's new here, I'm Sarah. This is Cancer Capricorn Guidance. I am a Cancer Sun, Capricorn Moon, Libra Rising, and I'm here to bring you love, light, and guidance through tarot, astrology, and spirituality. In my description box, you can find my Instagram handle. Please feel free to give me a follow. You can also find my email. If you'd like to reach out to me to schedule a personal reading, please feel free to do so. You can also find a couple different links to a couple different Spotify playlists I've made. I really love music and I really like making playlists and sharing them with people. So if you're interested in finding some new music or you're curious about what I listen to, please feel free to check those out. But anyway, Sagittarius, let's get into some of these aspects and transits that are happening in the month of October for you specifically that I think are going to affect you. So Sagittarius, on October 1st, we have a full moon in Aries. This is going to be a big one because it's really going to illuminate a lot of your desires and things that you maybe don't know that you really want to start working towards, or ideas about how to continue to move forward with something that you're working towards. There may be feelings of urgency and like a need to rush through emotions or emotional processes, but be careful not to act on anything too quickly or to do or say something really impulsively. Just make sure you sit in your feelings and really get clear and real with yourself about how you feel, why you feel that way, and how you want to move forward from that. This is also a really great time to finally put into action. Aries is a very action-oriented sign. It's a really great time to put into action anything that you have been planning, anything that you've been kind of ruminating over and making plans for. Now is the time to really take that first step and get started, to start moving with it, to start putting things into action. On the 2nd of October, we have Venus entering Virgo. So this is going to be a really great time to get in touch with your physical self in terms of your desires, your hobbies, your interests, your money, your spending, your romance. Venus in Virgo, it's a very, Virgo is a very more conservative earth sign, and it can be very practical and detail oriented. So this may be a really good time to get real and detail oriented and practical about your spending and your finances. Venus is also about romance and love and affection, so I think that this is also a really good time to get practical and real about your loved ones. When I think of Venus and Virgo, I think of that love language that is acts of service. This is a really good time to display those kinds of acts of service for people that you really care about and love. Show them that you love them through doing something really practical and kind for them, to show them that you don't just love them in a shallow sense, but you really care about them and want to help them in a more practical sense. If you have been connecting with someone and you're interested in seeing where the connection goes and exploring something with this person, I think this is a good time to have some sort of talk or conversation about the trajectory of the relationship. Are you two on the same page? Do you have the same goals as individuals? Do you have the same ideas about how you want to move forward in a relationship? I think this is a good time to get practical about the romantic parts of life, because all of that romantic stuff is great, but sometimes we need a little bit of grounding to really bring in some practicality and some, realness to our lovely relationships. This is a good time to get real about them and have those kinds of conversations with people that you really care about. So on the 4th of October, we have Pluto going direct in Capricorn. This is going to bring about a lot of transition and functional changes. So Pluto has been retrograde in Capricorn since, I want to say March. It's been there for a long time. And so all of the upheaval and big changes and things that we've been seeing uprooted and dismantled, all of those things that we've seen happen over the last 6 to 8 months, we're now going to start to see things fall back into place, but in a different way. So all of these changes we've been seeing, all of these big tumultuous events that have been happening, I think now that Pluto's going back direct in Capricorn, I think we're going to see new things set in place, new ways that things are coming back together and the dust is settling. And we're going to start to seeing things in a different light, and how those big upheaval changes have really benefited us and how we can let them continue to benefit us moving forward. As Pluto goes direct in Capricorn, this is also going to be a great time to release any last things, cut any last ties, let go of any last things that we really don't need moving forward, and move forward with a fresh, clean slate and no baggage, no extra stuff. On the 9th of October, we have Mars and Aries squaring Pluto and Capricorn. So a lot of you Sagittarius folk, being a fire sign, you probably have been feeling this Mars retrograde in Aries. It's caused a lot of tension and frustration and conflict, probably most likely inner conflict. And when it is squaring the Pluto and Capricorn that is now direct, I think it's going to cause conflict and tension in terms of that movement forward. This Mars and Aries retrograde has really challenged us in terms of how we're moving forward, what techniques we're using to kind of push forward and reach our goals and go after what we want. And I think this has been making us question and think about a lot of the ways in which we do that and what things are working and then what things are not. You may have been experiencing a lot of I'm trying, and everything you try is kind of feels like one step forward, two steps back. Feels like everything is a pushback and you're not really making any progress. But with Pluto going forward Pluto going direct in Capricorn, with it squaring Mars and Aries, I think there's still going to be some conflict and tension there, but Pluto and Capricorn is really going to want to move forward and make those changes and kind of put them into action, but you still may be seeing some obstacles and setbacks in terms of that. Sagittarius, you being a fire sign, there's going to be a lot of earth energy for the rest of the year. All of the outer planets are pretty much in Capricorn, and we have Venus going into Virgo, and I think there's just going to be a lot of earth energy for October and carrying out the rest of the year. So it might be kind of difficult for you because I know that fire signs like to move more quickly and impulsively, but this earth energy is going to bring in a lot of grounding, a lot of practicality, a lot of meeting with reality and getting real about how you want to move forward and do things. And I think it's going to help you in ways that you don't think are valuable. I think you may have this perception that the way you like to move quickly and passionately and excitedly forward, I think all of this earth energy is really making you slow down, take slow, steady steps forward, plan things out. I know fire signs, especially Sagittarius, you guys hate planning things, but sometimes that can be really, really helpful in terms of how you go about a project or a transition in your life or a new relationship. There's ways that we can put some thought and some planning into these things before we take action, and I think that's going to be really important for you. But to backtrack a little bit, on the 13th, we have Mercury going retrograde in Scorpio. I think this is going to be a big one for everyone, but Sag, you may be really feeling the effects of this. There's going to be a lot of really deep emotions coming back out. There's going to be a lot of deep wounds and feelings from the past that may be resurfacing. This could be a chance for anything that was happening last year around this time in the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. Anything that was not resolved during that time might be coming back up again to really force you to look at it and resolve it. There may be some people coming back from the past or old feelings coming back up from the past that remind you of ways in which you hurt someone or ways in which someone hurt you and how those wounds are still lingering between you or the other person. But remember not to run away from these tough feelings because it really is here to teach us something. And I think that it will be better for you to kind of lean into these heavy emotions and kind of embrace them. So again, that you can really process them and purge them and then move on. There's going to be a lot of heightened emotions and a lot of intensity, but I think it's going to be here to really teach us something about how we handle these intense emotions. On the 16th of October, we have a new moon in Libra. This is going to be a really great time for you, Sag, to take what we want to get started on with the Aries full moon and then kind of sit back for a second, take a step back, and really look in with ourselves and look at what still needs some balancing within ourselves. We may be really motivated or really excited about this new thing that we want to start, but first, one of the first steps is to look inward and look at ways in which there may be still some imbalance or turmoil within ourselves. There may be some inner parts of ourselves that we haven't kind of cleaned out and made room for. This is going to be a good time to really look at the good parts, the good feelings, and the bad parts and the bad feelings, and kind of bring them into balance and not necessarily demonize the bad parts. It's just about bringing in those things together and kind of making them work together and find balance and harmony between those feelings. On the 22nd, of course, we are entering Scorpio season. The sun is entering Scorpio. I think this is going to bring about a lot of emotional intensity, a lot of the things that I talked about with the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. But I think this Scorpio season is going to be a really good time to work on our skills of perception and understanding of other people. Scorpio is a very deep, perceptive, emotional, intuitive sign, just like a water sign. And I think this is a good time to tap into that part of ourselves. We are trying to understand our emotions. We are trying to understand the emotions of other people. And this is a good time to really work on that skill where we're using our discernment and our perception to really understand ourselves and others. I think also during the Scorpio season, there might be some things regarding secrets or anything that has been suppressed, whether it's you or larger scale society, anything that has been kept down or hidden. I think those things are going to be coming to the surface. That's also going to be super relevant in terms of the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. On the 27th, we have Venus entering Libra. And of course, Venus is very at home when it is in the sign of Libra. So this is a really great time to get in touch with all those Venusian parts of yourself, the beauty, the romance, the interior design and decorating, telling your loved ones you love them, pulling out those romantic stops, spending that extra dollar on something really nice for yourself, pampering yourself, all those kinds of things. It's a really good time to bring some more flow and harmony and balance into your relationships, into your work, into your spaces, maybe rearrange your furniture, buy some new curtains, freshen the place up. This is a good time to just really look at the more beautiful and lighter and more easygoing parts of life. Because on the 31st, we have some heavy shit going on. We have a full moon in Taurus. Now, this is going to be the second full moon of the month, which is a pretty rare occurrence. And this full moon in Taurus is really going to bring about a lot of feelings in terms of what makes us feel safe and secure. What things make us feel safe and secure that are good and that we should keep around, like people and relationships. And then what are things that we are holding on to that are like very materialistic and things that we think that we are getting security from, but we may not really need. And it might be really time to let go of those things. This is also a really great time to get in touch with your instinctive nature and your physical self. What makes you feel good? What makes you feel at home? What makes you feel cozy? What makes you feel safe and secure? And to really get in touch with those things and then really let go of anything that doesn't make you feel like that and isn't serving you in those ways. So Sag, how have y'all been doing? Sagittarius. I feel like some of you are about to go through some transitions. Again, some of those aspects I went over did talk about some upheavals or transitions, or maybe you're ready to, with all the change and like revelations you may have been having, I think you may be ready to start taking initiative and making some changes yourself and start to put your ideas into action. They want to start taking more initiative in making changes in their life instead of letting change happen to them. And that's really beautiful, Sag, to be able to, because Sag can be so go with the flow, so carefree and like just letting things happen however they happen. But I think Sagittarius has been tapping more into a place of like, I kind of want to take charge. I want to be in control of this situation. I want to take this initiative to make these changes instead of letting all this change happen to me. I think Sag is stepping into a place of more autonomy because you may have experienced some sort of loss of control this year, or you may have experienced a situation where your carefreeness and your go with the flow has actually worked against you and not helped you in some way, where you were just going with the flow and things didn't go the way you actually wanted them to. So now you're really thinking to yourself about how you want to move forward for the rest of the year and into 2021, thinking about, okay, I want to take more initiative and have more control over this stuff that's happening instead of just letting the universe throw me around. I think you're really starting to take more accountability and autonomy for your decisions and your paths that you're on. So, Sag. I think that also has to do with trusting your gut. I think that's something that you may have been tapping more into, is that place of like, oh, this doesn't feel right, or this does feel right, so I'm going to go with it. I think you're really starting to listen to yourself more and trust your intuition instead of just letting other people make decisions, letting things just happen. I think you want more control and autonomy over things. So, for October 2020, any messages for Sagittarius? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Mercury, Mars, whatever placements you may have in your chart, whatever energies you may be feeling. Any messages for Sagittarius for October 2020? Messages of love, truth, healing, light, forgiveness, clarity. Autonomy, control, perception, change, transition. Yeah, I think, Sag, I think you're about to go through some transitions of some sort. Or maybe you're currently in those transitions. But I think it has to do with you taking more control, gaining more autonomy for yourself, standing up for yourself in some way. Yeah, I'm definitely getting that message really strongly. Any messages for Sagittarius? I don't know why I'm getting like Scorpio, Scorpio, Scorpio. Sag, you may have Scorpio placements in your chart, or this Mercury Retrograde Scorpio / Scorpio sun season is really going to affect you in some way. There's going to be some kind of change happening or some kind of realization, like something big for you, I think, is going to be happening with all this Scorpio energy coming in. Yeah. So, Sag, for the overall energy, we have the King of Pentacles reversed. Then we have the Moon, the Knight of Pentacles reversed, the Three of Swords, the Justice reversed, the Death reversed, and the Ace of Wands reversed. There is a lot of reversal energy here, Sagittarius. I feel this like frustration. I feel this like I'm trying to push forward. I'm trying to move forward. I'm trying to start new things. I'm trying to get the clear. Like, it's like every attempt you make forward just feels like something is pushing you back. Like you're being met with so much resistance, and it's so frustrating. I can feel the frustration. Oh, baby. Okay, so for the overall energy being the King of Pentacles, I'm getting you either feel like you're not in a place of financial stability and financial self-sufficiency, financial autonomy, like you are maybe attempting, all of your attempts to move forward are attempts to establish your financial stability, establish your financial independence, to really prove to yourself that you can really work hard and provide for yourself. Like that's a goal that you really are working towards and you want to do for yourself. I'm also getting that there's like maybe some other kinds of dependency, like you're feeling in a place where you're trying to rid yourself of some kind of dependency on other people in some way. It doesn't have to be just financial. I'm also getting some insecurity about your maybe masculinity, some insecurity about your independence in general. Like you want to be more independent as a person, and have a lot of autonomy and power and control, and you're not experiencing that. I'm getting a lot of that. This doesn't have to be just about like getting control of your finances. It could just be like getting control of your life, taking more control over your decisions that you're making, and like it's your life. And I think that you're in a place where you're feeling very insecure because you're not in a place of control and independence and autonomy. But I'm getting like a lot of, because it's Pentacles, I'm getting a lot of financial, like you want to be in a place of financial independence and be able to provide for yourself and have that self-sufficiency to really prove to yourself that you can do it and that you're like a big grown adult. You want to be able to prove that to yourself, but you're struggling with that, or you're feeling insecure about that. Like you're not in that place right now. With the Moon, I feel like there is some illusion surrounding that. With that overall energy, I think that there is some illusion that you're still trying to break from about expectations. You may be someone that's kind of young, on the younger side, and you're trying and fighting to reach that place of stability and independence for yourself, but you may be setting yourself up for not failure, but like you're being too hard on yourself because you have these expectations. You have this illusion about what your life is supposed to look like and how you're supposed to reach that financial independence, how you're supposed to reach that place of stability and sufficiency and like maturity. There's like that need to do that, but I think there's some illusion surrounding it because you have this expectation of what it's supposed to look like and how quickly you're supposed to get there. Like if you're a younger Sagittarius, you may be being extra hard on yourself about where you're supposed to be financially right now, but you're forgetting to take into account that you're still really young. The economy is shit. If you're younger, your generation was kind of set up to be in a really tough position right now, especially with the state of, well, I'm in the US, I'm in the Western world. So specifically to that context, I think that you may be like having these expectations about how your life is supposed to look right now and how you're supposed to be like all independent, but it's like you have to be practical and real about like that's not possible right now. Like that's not practical to be able to be in this place of complete financial independence. Like you may still be dealing with student debt or you know, relying on your parents for sometimes. And like I think that you're trying really hard to establish your independence, but there's like you're fooling yourself about what that's supposed to look like because you're not cutting yourself that slack because shit is really tough. And I think you're having really high expectations surrounding it. I'm getting this just like illusion, like you're fooling yourself about what it is you're supposed to be doing and what your independence is supposed to look like right now. But I think you need to go easier on yourself. And this moon also speaks of, I think that there's some things that you may be suppressing. If this isn't about money, if there's just some kind of like dependency or like codependency or like insecurity about your masculinity, I think that there's a lot you're suppressing. And remember, everybody has masculine and feminine energies. This isn't about gender. Gender's dumb to me. It's more about like the masculine and feminine energies that we all have within us. And I think your masculine energy, you're trying to be in that place of like, I want to be independent. I want to be mature. I want to be able to provide for myself in not just financial ways, but emotional ways. Like I want to be the strong, independent person that I'm striving to be. But I think there's a lot that you're suppressing that's preventing you from doing so. And I'm going to get a clarification on that card. I need a clarification for the moon for Sagittarius. The King of Swords. Yeah, I think that you're suppressing a lot, and it has to do with you feeling like you need to be like calm, cool, collected, and overly in control all the time. The King of Swords can be a lot about like being in a place of, okay, I need to be in my head. I want to make decisions. I want to be deliberate. I want to be objective. I want to remove the feelings part out of this. Like I want to just be smart and steady and focused and like level-headed. I don't want to bring any emotional stuff into this, but it's like you're suppressing some things that you may be needing to like get out of yourself. And it's because you feel like you have to be in this place of in your head space and not your heart space. Like you can't have any emotion involved in these decisions that you're making. Like you feel like you have to be this like really put together person who is like mature and like mentally stable, and like maybe you're not in that place right now. Maybe you're not feeling mentally stable. Maybe you're not feeling very autonomous and in control. I think the King of Swords is a lot about like mental autonomy and like being good at having control over yourself and like being also a good leader for others. I think that like you're feeling insecure about your independence and autonomy because you're suppressing this part of yourself. Like, oh, it's either that like you are in this place suppressing a lot of things, or you feel really insecure and like not in your masculine energy and not in your ability, like not confident in your ability to provide for yourself, because you're suppressing that masculine energy. You're suppressing that masculine part of yourself that is able to take the emotion out of things and look at things really objectively and be a good leader. And again, these are all really great qualities to have, but everything needs to have balance. Everything needs to have balance in terms of like emotions. Being emotional is not strictly a feminine thing, and I hate that. Being cold and discerning is not a masculine thing, and we need to remove those things. And I think that Sagittarius, you may be experiencing a lot of thought about what it means to be masculine and what it means to be feminine, and bringing in those energies within yourself. And with 2 Libra cards here, 2 Libra cards, and with that Libra New Moon, I think it's going to be asking you to bring those energies into balance. It's going to be asking you to bring those masculine, feminine energies into balance, because they're not in balance right now. But with this Knight of Pentacles reverse, it's like, whatever these feelings are that you feel insecure about, like you can't get a hold of your finances and be financially independent, you don't feel mature and masculine and like self-sufficient right now, you feel dependent on other people, you don't feel strong and confident in yourself. I think that it's really slowing you down. It may be slowing you down at work, it may be slowing down your ability to get started on things and make money. And if this is about finances and money, it's like, I think you're suppressing the strong decision-making part of yourself, and you're just in a place where you're like moving really slow, and you're overthinking a lot of the little tiny decisions that don't matter as much in the large scale, but you're thinking about them so much because you think that every little decision I make is going to count towards my financial future, which is true in a way, but I think you're a little too much in that headspace of like, I need to be practical about every little decision I make, every little purchase I make, every little thing I do. And I think you're just feeling really slowed down and lethargic, because it's like thinking about every little decision you make is like really bringing you down. You're like, is this really what I have to do to get to the financial place that I want to be in? Yeah, and it could just be overthinking every little decision you make in terms of your masculinity too. You're like, because I do this little thing, does that mean I'm less masculine? No, it's just a decision you make. And I think you're bogging yourself down with all of the little decisions and stuff. And it's really slowing you down in your work, where you're like, it may feel really overwhelming, where you're like, I'm not in a place of financial independence right now, and the thought of getting there feels so far away, and it's making me just like hate my job even more. It's making me like go even slower at work, because the idea is so overwhelming and intimidating of getting there. It's like, how am I ever going to get there if what I'm doing is such a slow grinding process? But it's like, that's how it is. And again, with these outer planets in Capricorn, I think it's going to like be forcing you to step into that energy of like, sometimes things move really slowly, and we have to accept that and embrace that and kind of lean into it and move slowly with it. You know, sometimes things do have to move really slowly, and that's just how we make progress towards what it is we're striving for. With this Three of Swords though, it's like, I think it's really getting to you. The fact that you have to move slow, or that you're feeling lethargic, or that there's things, parts of you that you're suppressing, or like stress that you're suppressing, or insecurity that you're suppressing about this stuff. I think it's really starting to get to you and like hurting your heart. It feels like there's like a lot of pain in your heart, where you really want to release these swords and move forward. Again, this is Libra energy. You really want to release these swords from your heart so that you feel more free. I feel like this King of Swords is like the swords in your heart, where you want to be in that more emotional space. You want to step out of this like grounded, practical pentacle and sword energy. Like, you're very much in those energies where you're like, so it's so slow, it's so drudging, it's so it's such a slow moving process, and I feel really bogged down and held back by all of this energy, and I'm really letting it get to me a lot. Like, I want to remove these swords so that I can feel, so that I can like be in a more feeling space, but I think you're really struggling to get to that. And I think just all of this intimidation and the overwhelmingness of you eventually getting to that place of like freedom and independence is really it's hurting you, and it's the thought of how slow the process is going to be is hurting you, and it's really slowing you down a lot, and you want to release yourself from this like need to not be in that emotional space. But I think being in that emotional space is going to help you, because right now you may feel like really out of balance. You may feel really, really, really imbalanced. Like, those masculine feminine energies are not in balance and they need some rebalancing. This could also speak about like the situation that you're in right now, you just feel this sense of like, this isn't fair. This is a lot of unfairness. I didn't plan for this. I didn't ask for this. Like, this is all really difficult, and I'm not receiving the kind of movement forward, and I'm not receiving the kind of sympathy that I want. Like, this feels really unfair and unjust. Yeah, whatever this experience is, whether you're struggling to gain your financial independence or just like your masculine independence for yourself, you're really just trying to become a stronger, better, wiser, more mature person, and there's something that's really holding you back and slowing you down, and you're like, this is not fair. I don't like this. I don't like being in this place. I don't like being held back. I don't like when things are not fair, and it's really slowing me down and holding me back. If there was some kind of relationship in your past, I feel like there was something that took away your independence or took away your autonomy and maybe your masculinity. There was something that really made you question all of that. And I think you suppressed a lot of feelings surrounding that, feelings surrounding your inadequacy or insecurity about those things. And it really slowed you down in terms of making offerings to people. Like, you wanted to come forward to someone and make offerings to them. Maybe they rejected you because they couldn't see your independence and autonomy that you were striving for, and that's something that they wanted but like didn't see it in you, and they rejected you, and that really hurt your feelings, and that didn't feel fair because it's like, I may be in this place right now, but I'm working really hard to get out of it, and the fact that you can't see that really, really hurt me because I wanted to see where this went with you, but you couldn't even give me a chance. Yeah, and that just feels unfair to you, and I think it's like you are still holding on to that, you're still hung up on that, and it's like you're not letting it die, you're not letting it finish out, you're not letting yourself move into this new transitional period. It could also be that a lot of the things that are holding you back is just yourself, and this transition that's really trying to happen and push you forward, no matter how uncomfortable it is, no matter how uprooting it may feel. It's like there's this transition and change that's trying to come in for you, and you're not letting it happen, and I think it's because you're holding yourself back. I think it may be that you're like blaming outside sources and you're feeling bitter, but really you are being asked to look inward at yourself and you're refusing to do that, or you're not realizing that that's what you need to do. Yeah, I think that there's like this part of your life or this part of yourself that you're not letting die. There's this transition that's really trying to happen. It's really trying to come in for you, and you're not letting it because you are stuck in something from the past. You are stuck in your old ways. You are stuck in these self-limiting beliefs about where you're supposed to be and the level you're supposed to be at already, but you haven't made it there yet. It's like you're really getting tripped up and overwhelmed by the process and forgetting that it's not like, okay, I want to be here, boom, snap my fingers, I'm there. It's like you're forgetting that there is a long process, there's a long road to getting where you want to be as a person, as an adult, and having that financial independence, having that emotional independence, really being secure in your masculinity. Like, again, for the women, we all have masculine energy, and it may just be that you've been in your feminine energy and you want to step back into a place of your more masculine, autonomous control, just masculine energy. Remember that. But yeah, there's just a transition that's like really trying to come in for you. There's a big change that's trying to come in for you, and you're really resisting it, and it's not serving you. It's not serving you at all. You're trying to be pushed into some new chapter or new way of thinking or new opportunity, but you're not letting it happen. And again, that's contributing to your lethargy. Like, you have no energy, you have no motivation, you have no spark, you have no like optimism about this. It's because there's like a lot that you need to release. With the moon, it's like there's so much that you're suppressing. With these 3 of Swords, it's like you have the power to take out those swords, to feel more free and emotionally open again. I think there's just a lot of like holding yourself back here. There's a lot of self-deception about where you're supposed to be. And this Ace of Wands reverse is just like, overall, it's leading you to this place of like, I don't feel like trying. I don't have any energy to try. I've tried all of these things, and all I've felt is resistance and setback. yeah, you're not feeling that spark, that desire and motivation to move forward. You're out of ideas. You don't know how to move forward out of this. You don't know how to take that next step. Because this shit is so slow and it's dragging you down and you just have no energy about this. Sag, I'm going to pull 3 cards of advice for you to finish off this spread. 3 cards of advice for Sagittarius regarding this spread. How should Sagittarius move forward? What kind of energy should they step into to move out of this? 3 cards of advice for Sagittarius. 3 cards of advice for Sagittarius. Yeah, okay. So we have the 7 of Cups reversed, the 8 of Pentacles reversed, and the Lovers reversed. Again, more reversals. Okay, so with the 7 of Cups reversed, I think this is really asking you, with the Moon, it's really asking you to get real about what is real and what isn't. What are illusions about your progress that you've been telling yourself that aren't working for you? And what about those illusions and like narratives you've been telling yourself are really holding you back and not serving you? I think you spent so much time being overwhelmed by all the options and being overwhelmed by all the ways to get here instead of really honing in on one thing and really focusing on that. It's also really like asking you to turn inward and block out all the noise and go inward and trust that inner voice. It's really you tapping into that intuition, like I said in the check-in in the beginning. Like, I think you're really starting to tap into that intuitive part of yourself that you're listening, and it's trying to tell you how to move out of this. It's trying to tell you that a lot of things that you've been telling yourself aren't true. You've been tricking yourself. You've been really being way too hard on yourself. Yeah, and I think this is really you like honing in, like blocking out all the noise, all the outside influences, and really going inward and listening to yourself. Listening to that one inner voice that's really trying to help you. Yeah, this is also you getting over the whole thing about like there's so many options and I'm so overwhelmed by it. It's like, no, you know what? I'm going to go and like hone in on one and kind of focus on that specific area to really build forward with this. It's like you really want to reach this place of independence or financial independence, and you're so overwhelmed by all the different things and all the different like things in the way and things that it's going to take to get there. But you're really just trying to start to zoom in on one thing at a time and compartmentalize it so that it's easier to tackle, so that it's less overwhelming. Yeah. And if you're not doing that yet, that's asking you to maybe start to do that. Yeah, and with this 8 of Pentacles reversed, it's like, I think this is really asking you to stop. When this is upright, it's like really working on your skills and building yourself up and like developing yourself. When it's in reverse, I think it's asking you to go inward and do some of that internal work. Like working on yourself internally, working on how you feel, working through the narratives you've been telling yourself and why you have those feelings, why you feel a sense of insecurity and inadequacy. I think it's really asking you to turn inward, do some self-reflection, and start to work on the parts of yourself that are preventing you from moving out of this period of stagnancy, moving out of this period of feeling so blocked and held back, and really letting this death, letting this transition come in for you. I think when you start to do this inner work, that death process is going to come in more easily, and it's going to happen for you, you know? And it's going to bring you back some of that energy and motivation, where it's like you're doing this internal work to look at the parts of yourself and recognize and get real about and celebrate the parts of yourself that you really like, instead of just always focusing on the parts that you don't like and you want to change. Yeah, this could also be just like focusing in on and honing in on your inner voice, focusing in on your inner self and like what parts of you really like, and celebrating the parts of you really like, and blocking out all the other noise about the shit that you don't like. And this is also, I think this also speaks about the autonomy and control. It's like stopping what you're doing with like all the outside stuff and going inward and having more control over yourself and your emotions, because that is stuff that you do have control over. You may feel very set back and held back and restricted and slowed down and bogged down by all this stuff, but remember that there is, at the end of the day, there's this control and autonomy that you have over yourself, your emotions, your decisions. That is all things that you have a lot of control over, and it's asking you to really step into that. Remind yourself of that. And with the Lovers reverse, I think this is asking you to really look at yourself and your values. There's something about yourself and your values that may be being challenged right now, and maybe your perceptions of gender and masculinity and femininity, maybe that is being challenged right now, and that's trying to push you into a new territory of self-love and existence and like freedom, because this Lovers reverse is really about self-love. I think this is asking you to step back into a place of, I love myself for who I am. I love myself for where I'm at on my journey. I don't want to always focus on where I'm not and what I don't have. Right now, I want to focus on why I love who I am, why I'm celebrating how far that I've come on this journey, how much autonomy and independence I do have right now in this moment, not focusing on what independence I don't have yet. I think this is really asking you to step into a place of loving yourself and being easier on yourself and accepting yourself again. I think this is also asking you to think about what is being challenged or questioned right now in terms of your internal self and your values. Maybe there's something within you that's really starting to shift, especially with this moon. It's like there's a lot going on under the surface, a lot that's being suppressed, and I think there's a lot that's trying to like shift and change and move, and I think your values or your beliefs or your perceptions of things are really being challenged. And I think when you start to really love yourself and work on yourself and hone in on that inner voice and block out all the noise, I think that's what's gonna really aid in this transition. Whatever this transition that is that you have been resisting, I think you're really gonna step into it more easily when you step into this place of listening to your intuition and doing that internal work and loving yourself and accepting yourself for where you are. Yeah. Wow, Sagittarius. This is really beautiful. I know it's a little more on the vague side because it could go a couple different ways, but this is a really beautiful message. All right, so I'm going to pull one more card. I'm going to pull from the I Am Everything Oracle deck. I ordered this online a few weeks ago and I'm obsessed with it. It is beautiful. It's so simple and just like really pretty. So yeah, I wanted to pull these and finish off the reading with one of these. So one last message for Sagittarius. One last message for Sagittarius. I am whole. Oh, so beautiful. I am whole. Number 3, if that has any meaning to you. I know some people are into numerology. This says, I am whole. I am perfectly created. I am a wonderfully unique individual. Every lesson I have learned, every risk I have taken, and every achievement I have made contributed to who I am. Because of that, I am whole. Sagittarius, that's so beautiful. Like, I think this is really asking you to stop beating yourself up so hard about what you haven't achieved yet, where you haven't been yet, what milestones you have not reached yet, what parts of yourself you may not really like, the parts of yourself that you're suppressing, the parts of yourself that you're holding back because you don't accept them and love them. You know, if this is about like your masculine, feminine energy, it's like you don't feel inadequate. You feel insecure about the way that you naturally are. You feel insecure about how independent you are. Like, I think this is really, really telling you that you have everything you need within yourself. And I think it just takes you stopping this narrative of it's all on the outside. All of these external factors are holding me back. This is stopping me. I can't do what I want because of this. Like, I think this is really just asking you to go inward and remind yourself of how whole you are already. You're not broken because you're not where you want to be. You're not half of a person because you don't have the level of masculinity that you want. You're not wrong for not being you're not like a bad person for not being in a place of financial stability and independence right now. And this, like, there's a lot of just self-love energy coming from the advice card. It's like, just listen to yourself, keep working on yourself, keep loving yourself, and reminding yourself that you are already whole and there's nothing broken, there's nothing to be fixed. There is progress to be made in all of us, there is improvements to be made in all of us, there is goals to be reached for all of us, but you're already whole as you are, and you have to accept yourself for who you are right now and accept where you're at right now in your journey. Just because you haven't got there yet doesn't mean that you're not meant to. It just means that you're on the journey right now, and you have to appreciate that and find the beauty in that. You are whole as you are. You're just on a journey, just like everybody else. Sagittarius, I really love this reading for you. This was so, so beautiful. I love all of the messages in this and how concise this was. Really just remember to love yourself and accept yourself for where you are in your journey, and you're going to get to where you need to be. You're going to reach that place of independence. But all of this struggle is really helping you. It's really toughening you up to be able to get to that place someday. Sagittarius, this was a beautiful reading. There were wonderful messages in here. I really hope that you got something out of this. If this resonated with you in any way at all, please leave comments down below. I'd love to hear about it. Sagittarius, I hope you have a wonderful October. I hope that you really step into this place of self-love and going easier on yourself. I hope you have a wonderful Libra season, and I will see you in the next reading. Thank you for watching.